If you've been on Tumblr in the past year, you probably know all about Supernatural's flagstone fandom ship, Destiel, whether you wanted to or not. Not a single Tumblr nor Twitter user was safe from the hijinks that ensued on November 5th, 2020, when the ship became partially canon after years and years. Though it was fairly unsatisfying, and Castiel was banished to Super Hell as soon as he confessed, it was still the closest many thought they would ever get. Memes of Dean being gay and homophobic were spawned. People started calling Jensen Ackles the Antichrist and accused him of being homophobic because of that one time in 2015 when he refused to sign a Destiel smutfic at a convention, and the whole thing was just one huge disappointment-fueled shenanigan meme. That is, until the Spanish dub came out. In more than the literal sense. After the second canonization of Destiel with more fulfilling confessions and the reciprocation of said te amo, the following months would hold more and more information about the ship that many were forced to see even if they had no interest. From a redub that took out Ackles' English admittance of adoration to the angel, to leaked scripts and forcibly broken non-disclosure agreements, to allegations that co-star Jared Padalecki may have had something to do with the nerfing of said confession, the Mish apocalypse was on us once again. The Destiel confession memes have continued to be created as a way of conveying undesirable information in the worst possible way. Destiel has always been pretty memed on and drama-inducing, and it doesn't seem that there's any sign of it slowing down now that the show is finished. Especially not with the newest upset surrounding the pairing, with an author allegedly plagiarizing smutty Destiel fanfic in order to publish and sell homoerotic novels through Amazon.com. Let's get into it. Hey yo out there to all my big brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, and, of course, mommies, daddies, siblings, and guardians. It's me, your bite-sized baddie and favorite little brother Mark. What's that? You have a real little brother that you love more? Well, not anymore you don't. Author Romilly King is a fairly run-of-the-mill homoerotic romance novel author with quite a few titles under their name. Their Amazon profile describes them as, quote, an incredibly kind person with a classical education, a filthy mouth, and a head full of obscure words. However, it would seem that neither their self-proclaimed kind soul nor classical education would have them know that stealing from other independent artists is, kind of entirely wrong. On August 4th of this year, Twitter user Kokum created a thread stating, I'm what you'd call a voracious reader. I read all the time, everywhere. I read non-fiction, fiction, and fanfiction. I don't discriminate stories. What I do despise is plagiarism. Color me surprised when I bought Page to Kneel by Romilly King. It seemed so familiar. By chapter 2, I realized I could mouth along with the lines, because this is almost verbatim, You Can Hurt Me, It's Okay Baby, by Bluejack. Kokum goes on to show screenshot after screenshot after screenshot, reply after reply, of the two stories placed side by side. As these novels are of the more saucy variety, and I have no interest in getting a community strike from Susan, I can only show you so much. But here's a few words for your listening pleasure. From Paid to Kneel, it reads, So let's do it, he said. I can sign for 4 months if we start this week. I understand you can, she said, looking at him sympathetically. But first-time venditors are only allowed to sign a 14-day contract to make sure you're comfortable with the work and that your emptor is pleased with your services. As it is, it might take a while to find a good match for you, and after your initial contract, we have a mandatory 14-day cooling down period before you can take another contract. I can't wait that long, he said, leaning forward. despair hitting him again. And from Bluejack's work, published before Paid to Kneel, it reads, "So let's do that," he said. "I can sign up for 2.5 months. "While that may be," she said, looking at him sympathetically, "first-time sellers are only allowed to sign a 2-week contract in order to make sure you're comfortable with everything, in that your buyer is pleased with your services. As it is, it might take a while to find a good match for you. And then, after your initial contract, we have a month-long waiting period before we'll find another buyer." "I can't wait that long," he said, leaning forward. I kid you not. Page after page of this novel is plagiarized either word for word, or in that way that high schoolers try to rewrite a quote from a textbook so they don't have to make a block quote to do it. A term swapped out here, a semicolon replaced with a period there. Nobody would know the difference. Right? This one, which I have had to hella censor, is literally copy and pasted. I know that there's no such thing as an entirely original idea in art. There will be some natural overlap here and there. There will be some sentences or phrases that are shared between entirely unrelated works that will be entirely identical. But this is not one of those cases. This isn't even a case of being inspired by the story and wanting to create a novel based on your own take of it. This is paragraph after paragraph, both paraphrased and directly lifted from another person's work and being passed off as Romilly's own. Like, though I have to say alleged because no court case to prove this has been held and I am not about to get sued off a fucking rip-off Destiel fanfic, there is no way that you could make these paragraphs line up like this organically or accidentally. Even if the author had read the fic in the past and then forgotten about it and thought that this was their original idea, it's all way too perfectly quoted. Bluejack has confirmed that they are not Romilly, and even filed a plagiarism report with Amazon, who, by the way, agreed that the work Paid to Kneel was plagiarized, and got the book pulled, though the audiobook at the time of recording is still available. It unfortunately gets worse before it gets better, however, because with Romilly's suspiciously sudden rate of publishing 1 book a month starting in 2020 and continuing all the way up through this year, I can't help but wonder who else the author may have been taking the majority of said novels from. Fanfiction is a labor of love, and contrary to what some may believe, is a valid and complex form of writing. Sure, you get some shitty fics that would be better off unwritten, like Daddy Dearest. Shout out to the Homestucks in the comments who subbed for the Briscoe weed pie story and for the war flashbacks I just gave you. But nevertheless, it's an art form that takes hours upon hours, sometimes even weeks and months of writing and editing to complete a work. A work that is put out to the public to read entirely for free, mind you, just because the author is passionate enough about the media to create it. To have that pure love and all the sweat and tears just taken like that by someone who wants to make a quick buck while claiming to be a pure and kind soul is just insufferable. Since this was brought to light, King has deleted their Twitter and blocked access to their website. On top of that, more and more works are being confirmed as stolen, with Paid to Kneel, as priorly mentioned, being If You Hurt Me That's Okay Baby by Bluejack, Paid to Take Control being plagiarized from You've Built Your Wall So High by Fanny Von Fabulous, and Handled 1 and 2 taking from Conventional Psychopaths by Myaline. I've never personally read any of these works or followed these authors. Hell, I don't read all that much fanfiction aside from maybe a cute fluff one-shot for characters that got done dirty. But that doesn't stop me from believing that the original authors deserve recognition. If you do read fanfics a lot though, please take a minute of your day to leave a comment and let the author know how much you enjoyed it. I'm not sure if Romilly's publisher Naughty Book has even been notified of these plagiarisms, but I hope that in the future they do decide to stop supporting this author. What's your take though? I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want. I'd love to see you in the next video. I hope you have a scrapdangulous day. Later, skater. It's still hot.